Come on, Poppy.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh, it's lovely up here.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Hi.
Well, first of all, wow, what a table. I feel both blessed and honoured to be sat with you all, the queens of cuisine, women who have done so much for our industry and our gender. And I'm so sorry that Asma Khan could not be with us this week, but she will greet us at some point and work with us. So before we get into the topic of discussion, I just wanted to maybe ask you ladies to give our audience a quick fire elevator pitch in terms of an introduction. So let's start with you, Poppy.
Yeah. So my name is Poppy. I trained in Michelin-starred restaurants for over a decade. I've been working in restaurants, but when COVID happened and the pandemic, I started making food at home in my own kitchen and managed to publish books, do TV shows, and I have self-titled myself as the Potato Queen because I do love a good spud.
And talking of grit and vibe, Poppy started doing social media videos at home in your kitchen and bedroom, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And she now has nearly 5 million followers on TikTok. So there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, over to you, Jodi.
I'm Jodi. I am the founder and owner of the food design agency. We are a global culinary innovations company. We do a turnkey solution in various sectors of the F&D space. It's very exciting. I've owned the business for 18 years, and I also had a few years in Michelin background, some culinary competitions, and here and there. But yeah, the food design agency, data-driven decision business.
Jodi's been very coy there. She's represented South Africa in some big culinary competitions, so she's been a little bit coy. And then over to you, Leyla.
My name is Chef Leyla Fathallah. I'm from Lebanon. I started my career in 2005 as a caterer from home. Yeah. When I found that my kids were growing and I have nothing to do, I started a catering business from home. And then I took courses at Le Cordon Bleu in Lebanon. And then I was on TV. I was 10 years on TV, cooking shows. And then I started social media. Now I have 1.5 million on Instagram, 2 million on Facebook, and 300,000 on TikTok. Basically, I love teaching women how to cook. I always give them the easy way out with every recipe. So they like to encourage them to go to the kitchen. And then randomly, I was sharing all the time zero waste recipes or how to recycle your food on the next day. And this is where UNEP Post Asia office recognized me. And then I worked 1 year with them. And then now I'm their ambassador for food waste in West Asia.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Amazing.
And before we get into the hub of the conversation, we've talked about hustle, grit, vibe, networking, getting out there. These three ladies are all here because, well, I met them all through work. I met Poppy when Poppy kindly supported us at an International Women's Day event at Conrad London St James, and Nikki and I and my team have stayed in touch with Poppy, and she's in our ecosystem. And I've just
I can never escape.
I've just blagged her into doing some work with us in Dubai when she comes soon, so that was good. A little bit of a side hustle over there. Poppy's in for Dubai now. I met Jodi when I went to South Africa and did some tours with Reese, and Jodi and I were on a culinary competition together, and Jodi coached me through eating those crocodile and alligator feet or whatever. I'll never forget that. And of course, Jodi's now worked on some branding with us and worked on the menu design for We Are Eden. And Nikki and I met Chef Leyla Fathallah when we started working with the United Nations programme on Recipe of Change.
Recipe of Change.
And we've gone on to do Green Ramadan and so many activations together. And this is just going out and meeting people, learning and bringing them into your ecosystem. So that's why we've got these amazing women in our collaboration and our portfolio. Anyway, enough about that. So just to position the discussion, so over 2 years ago, in Hilton EMEA, we've been working really hard to identify a roadmap for equity in our kitchens in the form of the Hilton Chefs Inclusion Programme, which I know I've shared with you all at different stages, which we started about 2 years ago with the Women in Culinary chapter. And we fully appreciate that in professional kitchens the world over, which we understand are male-dominated, and we recognise that, and you know, we are where we are, but it's also about how we help women progress within culinary, knowing that, you know, only 6% of the top-tier restaurants in the world are helmed by women, and you know that from your time in Michelin restaurants in the United Kingdom. So I'm going to start by asking you all some questions of how we break down some of these barriers and how we support and encourage our leaders in the room, which, it won't have mistaken your attention, is probably 95% male. So, you know, we are where we are. Each of you have, you know, carved out a unique path in the culinary world, and the reason you're all very different backgrounds, different journeys in culinary, but all super successful. So what I wanted to ask you first of all, and we'll start with you, Poppy, is can you share a specific moment when you faced a gender-related challenge in your career and how you navigated it?
I think that one of the ones that stick in my head, there's a few, but you know, we don't have to go into all of them, but one of them that sticks in my head is that I'd actually got a promotion to a sous chef role above a lot of other male workers in the kitchen with me, and I had a few examples of people saying, oh, you only got promoted because the head chef fancies you. I was like, oh, so it's not because I'm very good at cooking, it's just because I don't know why they even thought that, but that was something that really stuck with me, and I was like, you're taking this on face value and not on actually my work ethic, how good I am at my job, and actually that I might be a bit better at it than you. So, thank you. So that was one that stuck in my head, but I was then in a managerial role, so I was able to actually tell him off for it. It was great. So if it was more of a, would you speak to a male sous chef like that? No, you wouldn't. Don't speak to me like that. Let's have a bit of respect for each other. And that was one of the things that it was a hurdle of, if you're in, especially in a role that's more managerial within a kitchen, if you're higher up the hierarchy, there's a lot of backlash to it. So it's about kind of getting your dominance, but in a polite, respectful way, and that's what I tried to do.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Poppy, and thanks for your honesty there. What about you, Jodi? How have you faced a situation where, you know, you've been, you know, a specific moment when you had a gender-related challenge, and how did you overcome that?
You know, to Poppy's point, there are quite a few that we can point out. I mean, for me, the standout moments have certainly been inappropriate behavior from gentlemen in kitchens thinking that it's okay, and that it's not at all, and you know, you have to stand up for yourself and voice that opinion. And not being taken seriously is another really big problem. You female, you don't know what you're doing, and that's exactly, I think, what Poppy's saying. So I feel we've had to work very hard to overcome that, and I'm very much in the corporate space, so it's taken time, and for me, it's really the inappropriate behavior that is often conducted in kitchens predominantly, but that's always been my greatest challenge.
Yeah, and Jodi and Poppy have been really polite. I mean, you know, off record, we've got some pretty raw examples that we wouldn't necessarily share on the stage, but, you know, it's many occasions of you had inappropriate brushing up against you in the past. And everything.
Very much so.
You know, we're just, it's shocking really, but yeah, thank you for sharing that. And yourself, Leyla, you've had a kind of different career path, but have you ever come across a sort of gender-related? Yes.
Although I don't work, I don't work in hotels or in restaurant kitchens.
Exactly, but
there was a colleague, yes, he tried.
He tried. Okay.
I feel so shy.
Don't be shy. You're amongst 600
It happened,
friends.
but it's how you stop it, the way you stop it, so he won't do it again, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this is the point really, isn't it? You're shy to talk about it, because that's what happens with women in kitchens.
Maybe because
right?
I'm older than you and I'm like veiled. I don't have any sense of attraction, maybe. I don't know. It's.
So you feel that because you're modest, you were quite shocked that this happened to you.
Yes.
This is a really relevant topic because we have so many leaders here. You know, in Saudi Arabia, you know, at the Hilton Riyadh, we have 34% women in our kitchens.
Saw when we went
you were
there.
with me,
Yeah,
babe,
I was
weren't you?
there.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and some of them are so young. I mean, we were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
imagine if it happened to them. And some of them were so modest, they were fully covered face,
Yes.
weren't they, as
Yes.
well? And they were still cooking and working hard in the kitchen.
So it's not about the woman. It's about the kind of man who was with her in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
I think it's not, you know, we're not, I just want to be clear, we're not gender bashing up here, okay? This is a really open and transparent conversation. Because what we're trying to do is, many of you will be shocked because, you know, you're leaders, but this behaviour goes on in and, you know, unless we pull the Band-Aid off and recognise it and share these experiences, you know, we're just talking, it's like being kept under the mat. And the point is you know, and we're lucky, we're in Hilton where we have brilliant, inclusive policies, and that sort of behaviour is not acceptable. But you've all experienced it. I've experienced it in pub and bar world. I've experienced it in retail food world. And I keep saying I'm going to write a book one day when I don't work.
An expose.
An expose.
Your retirement
when
plan.
I'm about 70. But anyway, thank you for your honesty, and I'm sure the audience appreciate your honesty, and especially you, Leyla. You said you felt shy. I'm sure the audience feel very honoured that you shared that story with them. So let's go away from maybe male bashing to support systems, okay? So let's flip to a slightly more positive side of the story. So what role has mentorship helped you and played in your journey as a woman chef? And not only mentorship, but how can we as women support each other? And also, how do we as women inspire male allyship? Because there's a lot of males out there, and there's a lot of men who really want to support and help women. You know, it's not a them and us. So how do we inspire, you know, men to kind of ally with women to support more women in culinary? So it's kind of two things. How do we help each other as women?
Yeah.
Has somebody helped you? And how do we also interact with our male colleagues? So I'll start with you, Jodi, this time.
I've been very privileged and blessed to have incredible mentors in my life. From entering the industry, I came from a science background and found myself in kitchens and in the industry. And I was mentored by a chef called Billy Gallagher. Many of you may know him. He was the president of the World Chefs Association, and he felt very, very strongly that it was time for change and time for equality. And he introduced me to some incredible people. He also instilled in me that it's not just about being a woman in a kitchen. You cannot take that for granted and just expect different behavior. And it's also about working hard and dealing with situations in the right way. He steered me in a fantastic direction, giving me confidence in who I was and in my skill and talent, and allowing me to put that footprint back into industry. Now, I work with an all-girls team. Now, that is not on purpose. It's the way it's worked out. I have 6 phenomenal young ladies working with me, and I really do try as much as possible to pay it forward to them, open them up to different opportunities, experiences, allow them to very much be a part of that ethos of, being proud of being a woman in kitchen and knowing that we're also taking a very particular skill set into the environment and being proud of that.
Thank you. Brilliant. Thank you. What about you, Poppy? Have you had a good mentor?
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the mentors that I have had been male chefs, 100%, and they've always been very supportive and always wanted to push me in the right direction. I think it's about having that open line of communication of, especially maybe if something doesn't feel right, you can talk to somebody, and also being able to show that you're on a level. So it's about, within kitchens and the hospitality industry in general, is that actually women are at this, we're exactly the same. Judge us on maybe how bad we are at, chopping, rather than our gender, and that will push everybody forward. That's how you can mentor, and that's how you can push people forward. And I've had, there was a head chef that I worked with, and he was, I was like, I want to move to London, I want to go and do these things, I want to go and work in restaurants. And he called around all the different chefs that he knew, trying desperately to get me into different positions. And I actually said no in the end and worked in a bank Monday to Friday instead, because I didn't want to work 70 hours a week anymore. But there's always been people there who have wanted better for me. And that's something that I've always appreciated, and I always pay it back as well by supporting any restaurants that they open, making sure that I go there. But it is all about an allyship and how you can just respect people without any other kind of judgment or criticism. That's just about mutual respect throughout the hospitality industry.
I bet that sous chef's happy to have you in his ecosystem now, supporting him at his restaurant. And what about you, Leyla? Have you had any brilliant mentors that have helped you in your career?
Of course, no one can succeed by himself.
Yeah.
I had the physical support, I had the emotional support. My family, I remember very well that my kids were very young. They would come from school, finish their homeworks, and start doing the cutlery bags for me, for my catering. Oh. My husband used to help me doing the menus and sending them by fax. There were no WhatsApp messages or anything. I remember my parents, when I first started, my dad told me, "You're gonna cook for people? My daughter will cook for people? What do you want? Money? I give you money. You want a car?"
Very Arab.
I told him, "No, I want a purpose to wake up to every day in the morning. This grind, this hustle, I want to do something." And
this grind, this hustle. Oh, you've hit a keynote there for us, Leyla. Yeah.
So I told them, okay, I know I'm married, I have my life, but please, I want you to be okay with it. Give me your blessing, and I'll show you what I can do. And if you remember, when we were in the event for the United Nations, he was crying. My dad was crying the
and your
whole
eldest
time,
son, was so
and my
emotional.
son was there. So, and even my husband, when I told him one day, like maybe 10, 12 years ago, I told him, one day I want to do something for the people. It's not about me. I want to do like something with the United Nations. He told me, "You never know, one day." And I told him, "How will they know about me?" And the day came, and I'm with the United Nations, and the day came, and I'm one of the Hilton family. I consider myself a member from the Hilton,
we consider you
of the Hilton
definitely.
family.
So you would say your support network was your family?
My family, my friends.
Yeah.
When I first started my catering business, there was no like social media to promote for it. So they would spread the word between their friends, their family, and they would order for weddings, for funerals, for companies. Sorry.
Thanks.
So I had this support, and even they would come and help me cooking.
Oh, that's
Imagine.
lovely. So certainly, our Middle Eastern community would understand that about the family. So Leyla, your mentorship and your allyship was through your family and your community, which is really important. And we get that story a lot in the Middle East with women chefs in the kitchens talking about their family being their main mentors. So in terms of, I want to get onto the topic of gender stereotypes, and we're going to start with you, Poppy, because your story is very interesting. I mean, you shot to fame overnight during the pandemic as the Potato Queen, which is just a brilliant title. But a title that opens you up for some naughtiness as well. So from people. But you do bring so much joy to people through your love of food. But how do you combat stereotypes about women in the culinary industry, especially in a space often dominated by men, and most people who think they can give you their opinion on your social media channels?
Oh yeah, everyone loves a little bit of mansplaining on my recipe videos, which sometimes actually the advice is quite good, but most of the time I'm literally like, I'm just trying to show you how to make something. I don't need it how, it's always, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. There's a lot of grief that you get on social media, and it's a difficult one because I'm half chef and have trained as a chef, and then half this social media sort of presence. And it's not that I'm a home cook, but now I'm at home cooking, so chefs love to tell me how I'm wrong a lot. And so I actually kind of like to use it as fuel for even funnier content. So take what they've said and then expose them for being silly. And it's something that I really love, just kind of biting back. And you wouldn't tell me that in the street, so I will expose you to the 1 million followers that I have, and I will tell you how you're wrong as well. So it's quite fun for me, but you do get a lot of just comments of people just wanting to have an opinion for no reason. It's not factual, it's not correct. It's just a random opinion, which you wouldn't say face to face to somebody. But now I use it for content and get more likes out of it. So.
But you have to be resilient, and you have to have some grit, which is what you need to be successful in a kitchen as well. And it's what a lot of our executive chefs and our leaders in our culinary and front of house, both male and female, have had to show a lot of grit and resilience. But hats off to women who become executive chefs, because I know that they've always done a lot of hard yards to get there. But in terms of Leyla, I just wanted to ask you, in terms of addressing food waste, you're very proud, and we're very proud, because I was there when you were announced as the United Nations Environment Programme Food Waste Advocate. What insights can you share about the unique challenges that women face in promoting sustainability in kitchens? Have you come across any challenges about your gender in your role?
Well, women are used to cooking too much food for their families, especially like our grandmas, our mothers. It's not easy to convince them that it's not good to do that, I tell my mom, please don't cook this much. We are only 4 persons at home. She tells me, "La, I cook. Maybe someone will pass by and eat." Mom, did they call you? Did they say they're coming? She goes, no, but I know for a fact that anyone might come anytime. Convincing them at this age to change their mindset about food waste is not easy. Yeah. Especially in our countries, in the Arab world. When we talk about Friday, the family gathering, it's not easy for them not to put a feast on a table for 5-6 persons. Yeah. But since we started promoting for this, many habits have changed. They are like giving away food, not throwing them, not keeping them in the fridge. For example, we have this much left in a Tupperware in the fridge. After 3 days, they open the Tupperware, they throw. Okay, you did consume the Tupperware. No, just take this Tupperware and give it fresh. Give fresh food to people. So now the mindset has changed, especially through social media, because we are promoting, not only me, many people on social media are promoting for sustainability, for food waste reduction, for shopping ideas, compost. So now people are aware, there's awareness about this thing. So I think it's becoming more and more easier, and they are becoming more flexible.
Yeah. So maybe you, as a woman addressing this space, you are really relating to women who are controlling the household kitchens in a lot of ways in the part of the world. So it's actually working positively for you in that role model. And that's probably why Sami Damasi and the United Nations chose you, because they understand there's a cultural barrier of this hospitality, of overfeeding your friends and family. Thank you so much.
And also sharing recipes with leftovers is not easy. People are, what? We will not eat this. Why? Try it. Yeah. Just give it a chance.
Yeah. So it's a big cultural barrier. Yeah. We thank you for everything you've done. And I know you and Chef Sebastian cook zero waste recipes at the United Nations at COP28. Let's talk about balancing roles, okay? So through our research at Hilton, we found that many women drop out of a culinary career on account of having to balance family responsibility and being a carer, or their career, okay? And we're all at different stages of our lives here. So let's start with you, Jodi. How have you found balancing, because I know you travel between Atlanta, Dubai, South Africa, your global business. How do you balance the responsibilities of home with a job in culinary and in an international business?
I love this question because, as you said, 3 very different people. I have made, all of us in this room, everybody in this industry makes major sacrifices. Owning the food design agency and being extremely stubborn about it being a success, and making it into something that I always dreamt it would be, and being a global business and working in the space that we were, which at the time was very different. I had to make rather large sacrifices in the sense that, okay, A, I lost one husband, but secondly, I chose not to have children, which makes me a very different candidate in the space that I am in a position to be able to travel. I do have homes and businesses in different regions, but it allows me that flexibility. However, as a business owner, and I have this amazing staff of young women who are having children, it's made me very aware as the managing party how hard it is sometimes where you don't understand. So I've had to be really flexible in the sense that these young people, these amazing women, also have to have some flexibility in their lives, to have the opportunity to raise their children, to look after their households. And it's been a learning curve for me too. It's all about being understanding enough to allow some flexibility. These women have to, they go on maternity leave, but you have to give them the opportunity to come back and maybe restructure the way that they work. Give them the opportunity to work slightly more flexible shifts, have different opportunities, but still really respect the fact that these ladies actually have way more jobs than a lot of other people in the kitchen. They're not just cooking. They're not just presenting beautiful food. They're not just being strong. They also have to raise their family, look after their husband, clean their house, and try and find balance in their lives. And everyone's shouting at them, balance, do you do sport? Why don't you do this? Why aren't you eating healthy? Why don't you do that? And you go, my God, what do you...
So, by the way, make sure you do some meditation when you get up in the morning. Right, no, Jodi, that's brilliant, and I just love the way you shared that you took the choice, and how you're learning, and I'm sure for a lot of our male executive chefs there, they're going on that journey of learning about how the women in their kitchen are balancing all these other things, and I really appreciate your honesty in sharing that, and also women returning to work after having a family. And I have a lot of chefs reach out to me that I don't know on Instagram now and say, I wish this topic of discussion, because I struggle to come back, and they had all the skills. And I know that our HR leaders in the room will be really happy, because I heard you mention flexibility so many times, and we launched last year our flexibility playbook to help our leaders in our hotels adopt practices, because obviously we're, let's be real, we're a 24-hour, 7-day, 365 operation, and we're busiest when most people are on times off. So thank you so much. How do you're at a different stage, Poppy.
Yes.
I mean, congratulations, you got engaged not so long ago.
Yes, thank you.
Got Tom, your fiance, here with you. So how do you kind of balance having, I suppose, a happy personal life with your crazy schedule?
It's, for me, it's all about kind of, thankfully, my partner doesn't mind just being the homekeeper a little bit. So he actually works with me as well, which I've been really lucky to do. But, I mean, going back to when I was working in kitchens, it was, I didn't see him. I never actually knew who my partner was until I ended up losing my job and realised, I actually do really like him. He's lovely. So it's trying to find that balance as well. So it's also... you want to give everything to your work because it is our passion, and I love my work, but you have to save a little bit back. So I also now employ people, so finding that flexibility, and again, I've had people go on maternity leave, and as a manager in that role as well, you do end up going like, you feel like you're left high and dry, but actually it's the women who are on the maternity leave, which, you want them to come back and feel safe and feel protected, but yeah, for me, my balancing is being able to drag my fiancé around to do this sort of stuff with me. So he's somewhere, it might be here, or maybe even relaxing in the spa somewhere instead.
Well, interestingly, I was in pubs, clubs, bars, independent restaurants, and when I had my baby, after 10 months, I went back to work. My husband became a stay-at-home dad, and my daughter's 21, and at the time, that was not the norm.
No.
And he used to, he's 6'6", ex-rugby player, and he used to take my baby girl to mum's toddler groups. Yeah. And people used to treat him like he was going to kill them all.
Oh, really?
They treated him like he's a psycho. When he started trying to get jobs to go back to work, people used to say to him, no, something must have been wrong. Why were you a homekeeper? Because he was a homekeeper for 8 years. So it's a different world now. Leyla, what about you when you... I mean, you've got your sons are all grown up. you won't believe this. I think Layla's eldest son, he's 31, isn't he? I mean,
No.
I know, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, let's have a bit of whatever Layla's having, hey?
Wow.
Tell me, what challenges did you face as being a homekeeper of, with 3 sons, a husband, in the Arabic world, and trying to forge a career? Yanni, father, I want to cook. How?
So I told you when I first traveled, the eldest one was 15.
Yeah.
And the youngest was 7. So they were like kind of grown-ups. But the thing is that they were used to me being around them all the time. It wasn't easy, the day I traveled the first time to film my show, I was crying because I didn't know what to expect. So my mom hugged me and she told me, Leyla, go to the airport. Don't look back. I'm here. I'm taking care of everything. Just go and do the best that you can. This is where I felt I'm safe, although I was alone, and my kids were safe. But now, I look back and I see that I did a huge compromise. Instead of spending time with my kids, I had to travel all the time. Until now, I'm not spending enough time with my parents. I was in Saudi last week, so I took my mom and dad with me so I can spend time with them. I don't spend time with my husband. I don't spend time with my kids. My husband sent me a picture. Look, I did the dishes. I was like, okay, bravo.
But I think you very honestly there shared what, I feel now personally that I'm paying the price of being a working mum.
I know.
And, and I'm really working really hard to put that back in my relationship with my daughter now. And I'm sure there's a lot of women out there, and I suppose men, we heard about Andreas last night. He's worked in Turkey for 15 years. His family's in Germany because it was right for his family. So, there are men out there sacrificing as well in the hospitality business. I'm conscious of time, and I have a really important question that I think will really resonate with this audience of leaders that will want to hear from you all who are successful in your own right, and women in culinary, because, we have lots of amazing women front of house who are aspiring to be in hospitality, and lots of women in the kitchen. So what advice would you give for leaders of young women in culinary, or indeed in hospitality, to allow our leaders to support young women on their careers? Like one piece of advice. And let's start with you, Poppy.
It's quite a big question, isn't it, actually?
It is. That's why I want to get it in before bangs me off.
Very quickly. I would say it's make an environment that is safe for everybody, not just women, but men as well, and actually try and put yourself in their shoes, I suppose. You're working very long hours. It's going to be hard. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of time constraints. So just making it a safe and happy environment for everybody involved. That's it. So that's the only thing that you can do.
So that's so important. So safe, nurturing.
Yes, nurturing's a great word, actually.
And empathetic. Yeah, well, that's what we said, because we become chefs to nurture and nourish.
Yeah.
So why should we do it in a brutal environment?
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start making, we want to nourish and nurture people as chefs, so let's make the environment we're working in like that. So, right, let Jodi, sorry, not Jodi, Leyla, one piece of advice for our leaders, maybe looking after, young, like in Saudi and in the Middle East, young women.
Now, I'm so happy seeing them open to all these women, young women in the kitchen. Just give them a chance. With all this social media and people talking about food, filming recipes all the time, everyone is trying to do their best. And everyone is trying to prove themselves. Even with all these trends, all these recipes from all around the world, we are open to all the cultures. Yeah. Just give them a chance to prove themselves, and you will see what they are capable of.
Thank you. Absolutely. So I take from that in Hilton language, taking a risk on someone, giving them their opportunity, and then as their leader, maybe having their back if they fall a bit.
Yes.
So that's great advice as well. Jodi, over to you. What advice would you give?
Quite a hard act to follow after you two being
I know,
quite
sorry,
prevalent.
Jodi.
So, in my opinion, obviously, I 100% agree with both of you. And it is, for me, it's about the respect that women are different and men are different. And we need to look at the strengths of each, and exactly to all of your points, really appreciate that and tap into that. And I'm going to keep it brief because there's a big red number flashing at us here. But I really like to live by a quote. And it was by A.A. Milne. He wrote Winnie the Pooh, for those of you who don't know. And it states, believe in your dreams, for you are the one that can make them come true. And in my mind, I would really like to see male chefs and other mentors, it's not just men and women, supporting young ladies in the industry and giving them these chances to succeed and believe in their dreams and achieve things. So.
Well, thank you. I don't know about you, but I feel truly inspired. We have an opportunity in this room to really make a difference. We have an opportunity for Hilton, through the Hilton Chefs Inclusion Programme, to change this industry for the better and, ensure that we have more than 10% of women leaders in our kitchens, and we aim for a more gender-balanced, inclusive kitchen environment. And you're already, as leaders, doing an incredible job. The support for this programme over the last 2 years has been incredible, and I want to thank you for that. But we have a long way to go. But all that's left for me before I leave this stage is to thank my queens of cuisine today, Poppy, Leyla, and Jodi. Weren't they amazing, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.